Hi, welcome back to another episode of Nobody's Doing It Right, the podcast for those who are uncertain. My name is Kat, I am your host, and for today's episode, we're going to be talking about creativity, specifically about how your desire to create or your desire to share your art is a part of yourself that is wanting to be seen and heard. And to not lean into that, to not let yourself do that, is to do yourself a disservice. It's to dishonor that part of you. And for me, as I've had to kind of explore throughout my own journey, that part of me is my inner child, and it might be for you as well. I have always been creative. I was very creative when I was a kid. I'm an only child, so I spent a lot of time alone. And the main ways that I felt seen and heard were either through consuming art, specifically movies. I grew up watching a lot of movies, but also through creating, through using my imagination a lot. I used to write as a child, a lot of fiction writing. And I used to make believe, I used to play act, I used to draw sometimes, like just a lot of art. I used to play instruments, right? It's fun to create. As I've gotten older, and maybe as I've let myself, and maybe you have as well, let go a little bit of that creativity. I've refound it, obviously now, but throughout my 20s, I kind of let go of it. I felt very disconnected from myself because I realized after a while that the reason I liked to create, the reason I not even liked it, I needed to create, was because my inner child was still there. And she still is, and she always will be. She's a part of me, as your inner child is a part of you. My inner child needed to be seen and heard in the way that she was when she was younger, right? And I think we all need that within us. We all need to still explore that playfulness within us, and to not let yourself explore your art, create, share it, let it be seen by other people. Sometimes you can just share it to yourself, right? Letting it be seen by you. Not everybody has to share their art with an audience or monetize it or anything like that. But to let yourself really explore it and be in it and do it, do the art. It's a process of connecting with that inner child, that part of you that has maybe experienced a lot of things that are still like permeating your life, that are still there, that are still like a common thread that maybe you're still working on, right? Maybe you're still trying to heal. Now, that isn't to say that, once you heal, which I don't even know really what healing completely means when it comes to this kind of work, but that isn't to say that when you heal, you'll lose your artistic drive or your inner child will no longer need to express themselves. I just think that there are parts of you that are still connected to that inner child. And just like having your own child now, they still need to be seen and heard. They still need to be made to feel valid in their experience, not forgotten, not, shoved down and disregarded because you're an adult now, so you don't need to do that childish stuff. Like, no, they still exist. They're still there. They're still within you. They just need to be safe with you, right? They need to feel like they are safe with you. And sometimes the best way to do that, especially if you find yourself as a creative person, is to create that art. That is your way of showing them that they are safe with you, that they can trust you, that they can express themselves, and that you will hear them. Everybody's different, of course, right? If you don't think that you are creative in this way, it might be some other way that you are hearing and seeing your inner child, right? But this is specifically for those of us who find ourselves gravitating to creativity and art. But creativity can mean anything, right? It could be baking, right? Anything that you are creating something. But, coming from my own experience as a writer, as a content creator now, just sharing my thoughts and ideas, like that's how I express myself and how my inner child expresses herself and allows me to hear her. A lot of my work has been me tapping into my inner child and talking to her and hearing what her thoughts are about something that she experienced back then, and then me processing it from my adult lens and expressing it that way. I think that's a great way to tap into your inner child and make them feel seen and heard. Because sometimes as kids, we obviously, all kids, don't have the language or the emotional understanding and intelligence yet to express themselves fully, to truly be understood. But as adults, we can translate for them, right? We can let them be heard now in the present moment, right? We can kind of jump into the past a little bit and let them be heard in the present through our, growth and development and emotional intelligence that we have now by translating what they are telling us, right? And I think that's really important. And I think it's how you honor yourself in your experience throughout your life and to make yourself feel valid in your existence by sharing that work and putting it out there. Again, not necessarily sharing it with an audience, but sharing it even with yourself, just creating it and putting it out into the universe, right, is a way to honor yourself and your experience in your life. And as I've realized, the more you suppress that need as a creative person, the more it knocks, right? The louder the knocking gets until you cannot ignore it anymore. Now, from my own experience as well, but I know that a lot of people will suppress that for as much as they can. Like they will not let themselves lean into that creativity because of maybe a lot of narratives that are surrounding what it means to be creative or be an artist. I think there's a lot of shame tied to being an artist. There's a lot of this kind of feeling of it's childish, it's silly, it's useless, what's the point, The Artist's Way, which is a book and a program that a lot of people have done that I'm doing as well, can explore this a little bit more if you want to kind of dive into it. It's deep work. It doesn't have to just do with being an artist or creating. It has to do with being a person who has experienced these things and who sees the world this way and sees themselves this way. So it all ties into personal development, right? But if you have these narratives and stories, you will hold yourself back from doing your art, but your art needs to be done, right? It needs to be created. It needs to be expressed because that is a part of you that needs to be seen and heard. And the more you ignore them, suppress them, disregard them, the more and more they will dislike you. And to live in your body with a part of you that dislikes you is not fun. You feel this disconnection from yourself because that part of you can't trust you anymore. And if you can't be trusted by you, you're not going to make decisions that are aligned with you in your life. You're going to sabotage yourself. You're going to berate yourself. You're going to be mean to yourself. And we don't want that, right? We want to feel connected to ourselves. We want to feel like we can trust ourselves. And I think from my own experience, art is a way to do this. If you consider yourself a creative artist or a creative person, you have to use that to tap into that part of yourself so that you can build that stronger connection with yourself, so that you can do the things in your life that you want to do and not feel like you're holding yourself back. That is one way to build self-trust, your art, your creativity. It's there for a reason. It's asking to be created for a reason. And you have to listen to it, right? And of course, you can choose not to. You can live your life suppressing that feeling and saying, no, it's embarrassing, it's childish, it's not good enough, so what's the point of it? You can do that. But I think it'll always knock. It'll always be there. It'll be a low rumble all the time that you will have to fight against. And I think it's a lot easier to just let yourself lean into it. But it can be scary, of course. I'm not saying it's like so easy and doesn't require a lot of discomfort to lean into that part of yourself, because there can be a lot of pain as well that is used or that fuels your creativity. So to explore that can be very uncomfy. But of course, many things in life that we have to work through require discomfort, require us to trust that we can lean into the discomfort and be okay and handle it, right? And I think our art is no different. Our creativity is no different. So I wanted to share this for anybody else who feels like they are a creative person and an artist who has been suppressing that drive. That drive is there for a reason. It's not there for nothing. And if you maybe were conditioned to believe as a child that being creative or creating art was silly and useless and there's no point to it, so you've shamed yourself a lot as an adult now from doing it, from even by yourself, it's there for a reason. Like, it's there because there's something that you need to experience from your art and your creativity. It's not there for nothing. That's a narrative that's been instilled in you that does not serve you. It doesn't honor you, and you need to serve yourself and honor yourself so that you can feel good enough to then, serve and honor other people, right? Because we want to be in connection with other people, but we can't connect properly with other people if we're not connecting properly with ourselves. And our art and our creativity is a way to do that, if you, of course, relate to this. So it's important that you let yourself accept that I am an artist, I am a creative person, and I need to do this in whatever way that looks like for you. And that might change throughout your life. Just like I once considered myself just a writer, a creative fiction writer, I now consider myself many other things, but it all ties into creation. It all ties into sharing thoughts and ideas and connecting with myself, which has allowed me now to connect deeper with other people, right? All my videos, all the content I create is me talking to me about me so that I can get to know myself better. But it also allows me to connect with other people who get me because they are also like me. They also experience these things. So I know often it seems like when I say you in my videos or in my podcasts, I'm not talking about other people as if I know what's best for others. No, I'm talking to me. Like, the you is a collective you. I'm talking to me from my past or even from my future. The things I wish I had heard, the things I wish I knew, the things I need to hear now, presently, that I need to hear over and over again, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking to. I'm talking to that part of me that needs this. And so because I've been able to do that and tap into those parts of me that need to hear this, and I've been listening to what they say and what I've experienced or what I expect to experience or whatever, right? Connecting with all those versions of myself. Now I'm able to connect with other people as well who get it, right? Who see me because I've been able to see me. And now because I've been able to see me and they see themselves in me, they are better able to see themselves, right? Isn't that how amazing how that works? Just simply by creating things and sharing it, or just creating it with yourself and then changing the way you see yourself and then how you show up in the world, because you can then start showing up completely differently. You show up with more confidence and more self-awareness, which then changes the way you behave towards people. Now maybe you have more compassion or more understanding for other people, and that changes the way they see themselves and how they show up. And it's like a chain reaction, which is amazing. And that's like the beautiful part about connection. And it starts with connecting with yourself, and your art and your creativity is one way to do that. So if you find yourself being pulled to being an artist, being pulled to creating things, but you're suppressing that, I would implore you to allow yourself to do that. Allow yourself, because there's a reason for it. The desire and drive is there for a purpose. There's something behind that. And it's a part of you that needs to be seen and heard. So let yourself see and hear them. So I hope this was helpful. I hope it offered you a different perspective. Feel free to follow all my social media accounts, my Substack, if you want to support my work and also read some of the things I write about. I also offer one-to-one calls if you want to talk about these things with me in detail. I'm not a therapist. I say this all the time. I just really like talking about these things and I love exploring them. So if this resonates with you and you want to explore it a bit more with me, feel free to book a call. All the links, all the information will be in the show notes below. But thank you for listening, and I'll be back again with another episode.